In the name of God, the compassionate and merciful. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "The stomach is the house of all diseases, and regimen is the head of all cures." The source of this narration, Tibbur Rasul al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This narration can be paraphrased by other narrations and also can be more understood by science, which inshallah we will link it to the COVID-19 pandemic in order to learn more how to be equipped at the time of need and how to improve the immune system. One of the narration that can come to one's mind after reading this narration is the one that says, "Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, and before you feel fully full, stop eating and drink with 3 breaths while you're sipping the water." And also the narration that says, "Fill up 1/3 of your stomach with food, 1/3 with water, and leave 1/3 for air to flow." Those who struggle with breathing can realize the value of this narration that says, "Leave 1/3 of your stomach for air." However, sometimes a nasal congestion can make the breathing hard too, and it becomes harder when one panics. And there are some remedies for it, like starting a meal with natural sea salt and finishing it up with the salt, eating few spoons of plain sawiq on empty stomach in the mornings, gargling with vinegar solution after eating sweets, using miswak and kohl, the recitation of Quran, going to the bathhouse, sitting in the sun in winter with your face against the sun, avoiding vegetables and any oil with cold temperament, eating roasted nuts can help with the removal of a nasal congestion to make the breathing easier. We have shared this narration before, but the reason for sharing this post is focusing on one of the possible meanings of this narration, the gut virome, a bunch of viruses in our guts. One of the superiority of Islamic medicine over other methods is that it mostly covers both mental and physical aspects of the health. And the narration that splits up the armies in charge of constructive and destructive behaviors could apply to constructive and destructive elements, which doesn't necessarily mean that they are within us for our destruction, but rising us up against the downfalls, like the bacteriophages in the virome gut that eats unuseful gut bacteria in order to keep them up to date and focused on their job, just like a competitor in the trading market that tries his best to attract more customers by offering good services with lower prices. Bacteriophages also keep the healthy bacteria active by cleaning their wastes, and perhaps as there are not enough data available on the physiology of bacteriophages, they could be assisting the body to produce antibodies against pathogens like viruses. In other words, as our gut bacteria are the healthy ones, and outsiders are the harmful ones classified as pathogens, the same way outsider viruses are harmful and classified as pathogens. And for example, you can see COVID-19, how harmful it has been to the human body. But gut virome and viruses that are called bacteriophages are naturally living in our guts and are part of our microbiome. But they are not enough studied to see how much useful they are to the body. But definitely they are not classified as pathogens. Otherwise, human race would be extincted by now. Another thing that comes to one's mind is that what we put in our stomach becomes part of our body. And one of the reasons why pork is haram in Islam is that they are human hybrids as a punishment from God, same as monkeys that are the hybrid of humans and haram to eat. One of the reasons for the forbiddance of pork and monkey meat could be their gut virus, which could transmit to humans even if not by ingestion. They could enter into our respiratory system by air. And pangolins are believed to be the source of COVID-19, trafficked from the US to China, while there has been no evidence to show that they are being extinct naturally, except the cruelty of humans that may cause them the extinction. So in short, despite cooking the haram food, there is a possibility of entering into the bloodstream. If that didn't happen, there is a possibility of entering into the respiratory system through air. But despite all these, those whose bodies develop immunity against the disease are the example of a working digestive system, as the stomach is the house of all diseases and regimen is the head of all cures. Because if the right food is put in the stomach, it will help the body to fight the disease and produce antibodies. Proper nutrition helps to improve the immune system and create antibodies against pathogens like viruses and bacteria and fungus and so on. A healthy gut virome will keep the gut bacteria alerted to produce enough food supplies for the survival of the body. Gut virome is not deeply studied, but it's part of our body that keeps the microbiome awake. When did you hear about gut virome? Did you always think viruses and bacteriophages are only bad for the body? Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa